EGM Network.
This is Martha Matters. From real estate, healthcare, current events, taxes, or just about any topic, we're talking about it. Call us with any questions on just about any subject. Now, here she is, Martha!
Well, hi and welcome, everyone. Baby, it's cold outside. Ooh. I know most of these listeners are probably laughing at me down in Florida, and they can, but when things are down to 40 degrees in the morning, I put on my sweatshirt. Some people even have scarves and a big fur coat on top of that, even with a mink collar. I know you're laughing at us because that isn't cold compared to the rest of the country, which is really freezing. And I understand that. And thank God I'm in Florida. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it was snowing in Chicago yesterday.
Yeah.
As we're taping this, yeah.
I do miss snow, but I don't miss it enough to put up with the traveling and all the negative aspects of it.
Oh, yeah, really. I like to go once a year to some place, wherever, visit one of my friends where it snows and say, okay, I'm here for the weekend and I'll see you. Monday I'll be back in 80 degrees, so.
Yeah, that sounds like
I do
me.
that, yeah.
I'd love to fly to Jackson Hole.
Yeah.
And get all kinds of these pictures from the hotel and everything of all the animals going through the snow and whatnot. But I'll watch it from inside my hotel rather than skiing. But it's a lot of fun being there. Well, so much for that. I want to get into the topic. We can all have a lot to be thankful for. It's now basically mid-November, and we're done with all kinds of low-pressure systems forming in the Atlantic that turn into hurricanes. The Atlantic is quiet. Why is it suddenly quiet? For the last 2 weeks, we've had, not in Florida, but we've had a lot of cold pressures come through, cold fronts. And that cools off one after the other up north that went out into the Atlantic, and that cools off the Atlantic surface temperature very, very quickly. And so if a hurricane was about to form as it comes off of Africa, it doesn't, because along with cooler temperatures is less evaporation, less humidity, and so nothing forms. Plain and simple. Well, this year, all the hurricanes that we had last year that were bad and devastating, Milton, even with its tornadoes, and Helene, and all those others, they did not come across the Atlantic. They were formed in the Western Caribbean and the Bay of Campeche, which is part of the Gulf, the southern part of the Gulf. Let me tell you, this year we never had one. Now, there is a reason for it. The weather department doesn't want to discuss it on air because they don't make money telling us about it. But the reason is very, very interesting, twofold. I've mentioned it last time that I talked about the weather. This year, the Sahara dust is phenomenal. And up until a week ago, and even about 3 or 4 days ago, Florida had Sahara dust up in the sky, which is why even yesterday morning, this week, instead of suddenly having blue sky, it wasn't blue till the afternoon. In the morning, it was hazy, but they were not rain clouds. We can thank the Sahara dust that it didn't get cold until last night for those that live here in Vero or in Central Florida.
And you know what? We battled that all summer long, Martha, in a good way because it kept the hurricanes away, but yet a lot of people had a ton of allergy symptoms to it, to the dust.
Yes.
But I mean, it's a positive trade-off, in my opinion, to have a little bit of allergy problems as opposed to a real big hurricane problem.
But you brought up another point that I haven't mentioned yet, which is there's been a lot less pollen because of this also. Why? The southwest winds that we get from across the country and across the state of Florida and from the Pacific Ocean, all that El Nino and high winds, we didn't get that this year. Our winds came from the Atlantic or east, either northeast or southeast. And when the Florida coast, especially the east coast, gets all its wind from right off the Atlantic, guess what? There are no no-see-ums, there are no mosquitoes. They're all pushed into the center of the state or to the west. So we lucked out in many, many ways this summer by not having all these southwest storms. The negative with that is that we had to use our sprinkler systems more. We did not have a wet season where it rained at least every other day. We had many more cloudless and rainless days. So there's good and bad, but getting back to just the hurricanes, in addition to the Sahara dust, there's something else preventing the hurricanes from forming in the Gulf and the West Caribbean. And that is these low-pressure systems. For some reason, this summer, they came across the southern states, mostly southern, like as far north as the Mason-Dixon line, but they, instead of stopping or losing ability to stay put or continue bringing rain, it all of a sudden stopped in mid-Atlanta, and also in Montgomery, Alabama, and so forth. And we never got the heavy rain down in Florida because those fronts didn't come down. Well, this year, the fronts did come down. They didn't rain on the eastern border of Florida, but they came down and they rained in the Gulf and stayed together. So any little low pressure that was going to form and eventually become a hurricane like Milton that we had last year, or even Helene, guess what? They didn't get a chance to form in the Gulf because the front was pushing them way south. And they reached Colombia and Venezuela before they had a chance to slow down and form anything. And so all of a sudden, there was nothing being formed in the Western Caribbean. And I would like it very much. They're not going to talk about it like I am, but if there is a permanent trend or this is a one-year fluke, I guess only time will tell. That will be the truth sayer, that these low-pressure fronts are coming more southerly than they are northerly for the summer. And if that happens, it doesn't matter whether there's El Nino or La Nina, either one of them, because our winds will be coming from the east. And that's exactly what happened this year.
Yeah, you know, Martha, you and I have both lived here in Florida, in South Florida, for quite a number of years. And we've had the conversation about, years and years of there not being hurricanes per se. I mean, I remember one of the biggest ones when we all took notice was Andrew, which was in 1992. And the years previous to that, there weren't a lot of hurricanes. And then maybe, I'm trying to remember sitting here, not too many right after that. So the history would explain some of the stuff of what the circumstances were for that to happen, I would think.
You could be very right. This could be a cyclical thing.
Yeah.
For 5 or 10 years, it's light, and for 5 or 10 years, it's heavy.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering what the prognosis or whatever was the circumstances were in those years that we didn't have a ton of hurricanes, and then all of a sudden, boom, we do. Now, they did in Jamaica get hit by that really bad one a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
so,
Melissa.
Yeah. And that came in at, what, a 5? I mean, that wasn't fooling around, that hurricane.
But that fell apart fast.
It did.
By the time it even got to the Turks and Caicos, it was just a tropical storm. Why? Because the Atlantic and Eastern Caribbean, as soon as you crossed Jamaica, was all cool.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Gulf Stream and everything else that was not as hot or high in temperature like it used to be.
Yeah, and that lends itself to the hurricane dissipating because it has to feed on the warm waters to make it grow.
That's right.
To keep its velocity, yeah.
So that was nice. I'm sorry about Jamaica, though. It's going to take them a couple of years to really have their swinging resort program where you don't have cracked roads or missing lanes on a road, all kinds of stuff. They have an awful lot. Boy, I got a frog in my throat. You got an awful lot of roads that are going to take many, many months to correct. And they've really been devastated, especially coming across the mountains in the middle.
Yeah.
From north to south.
Yeah, definitely.
They'll probably have to have helicopters bringing food in for quite a while. And I don't wish that on anyone, and especially Jamaica too. But with the hurricane situation, I don't know what it is, whether the Sahara dust was only a recent phenomenon with the change of, by that I mean within the last 10 years or less.
Right, that's what
or whether it was a permanent thing.
That's what I'm asking. If you went back in the annals and looked at what the history was around that time, 92, 95, whatever, however far back you want to go, how much information do we actually have that pinpoints what drove a lot of these hurricanes
and
this weather? Yeah. That's what I would look at anyway.
And like I said, you're not going to get the weather stations talking about it for the very simple reason it's not profitable.
Well, that and how many people are interested in it. I mean, there's people that are, but it's not something that maybe is, I don't know, I don't want to say newsworthy, but, I mean.
People are only interested. They probably get double or triple the recession. The people tuning in if there's a threat of a hurricane or one is coming somewhere. Right. Everybody likes to watch it. But if nothing's happening, they probably have a minimum number of people tuning in. If they tune in, it's for 5 minutes to find out the local temperature and what to wear today. And then they turn it right off. Yeah,
I don't know. Good news doesn't sell, I guess. But to me, it would. I mean, I'd want to know too. I have a whole season of no hurricanes or minimal hurricanes. I mean, that would be good for me. But
that's a whole different topic.
It is a whole other different topic. And maybe I'm more of a nerd on that stuff than other people are, Martha.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Well, also, related to this is our winters. And there are years when we don't have much snow, and there are years we have loads of snow.
You mean in the northern climates?
In the northern
yeah, I'm thinking. I'm trying
in
to
the
think
northern
of,
half of the U.S.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when Florida had that much snow.
No, maybe a couple of flakes I remember over the last 10 years once.
Yeah.
But nothing that hit the ground, nothing to shovel or put salt out to melt. Ice, yes. If any time it goes below 32 degrees, and there's even a light sprinkle, which Florida has a lot of. We don't call it rain because it doesn't help the plants, but we have a sprinkle. That will cause ice on the roads. And boy, do we have accidents then. We're just not prepared for it.
Right.
Even our tires, by not having snow tires in Florida, which we don't, it cause or cannot handle even a few hours of ice. You've got to really stay put if that happens, or if they forecast that.
Okay. Hopefully we're not getting any ice here in Florida, Martha.
Yes. I certainly hope not. The one exception, as we all know, is the Panhandle and Tallahassee. That's a different climate. It still picks up what the rest of the United States has.
Right. Yeah. Well, they're way further north. I mean, that's how many hours north of us. That's quite a way.
Yeah. So that part is good. Also, if besides researching Sahara dust and besides talking about the low pressure systems coming more south from the United States down to South America, we will find out in time if this is a cycle thing or cyclic, or whether it's just a fluke for this year. And I'm afraid there's no way we're going to know until we see what happens next year. Don't get me wrong, I'm not wishing time away. So on that note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back. We have some more information for you.
Evergreen Media is your go-to for podcasting. Business owners, boost your brand by educating clients with your own show. Just show up. We handle everything else. Get your custom video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and more. Start today at egreenmedia.com.
At Evergreen Media, we know the people, the businesses, and the work needed to take your marketing to the next level. We know where locals go to shop, work, and have fun.
We're here to focus on your local advertising so you can focus on your business. This is our home. This is our business. Evergreen Media. We market, you grow.
Create your restful retreat and save 50% now on all Tommy Bahama and Lexington furniture during the Home for the Holidays event at Sunshine Furniture. Sophisticated looks with a mix of coastal and Caribbean styles, Tommy Bahama offers everything you need for your personal paradise and is all half price. At Sunshine Furniture, we have the largest selection of in-stock coastal and casual sofas, love seats, chairs, slipcover sofas, bedroom dining, and occasional furniture from Four Seasons, Capri, Best Chair, Hooker, and Riverside. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have any style of patio furniture that you need, including a gallery of Made in America, Berlin Garden, Pollywood, Woodard, Lloyd Flanders, and Telescope. We specialize in replacement cushions, umbrellas, and fire pits. Come in now for our Home for the Holidays event and winter sale. Don't forget to visit our outlet and sales center directly across the street, Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in the Publix Plaza Vero Beach. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Well, welcome back. And hey, we have a few more pieces of information to give you. One is rain. There is a problem that Florida has, like we don't have much of a drought with this eastern rain, because by the time it crosses the Indian River and gets on the mainland, central Florida and Southern Florida has plenty. There is no drought whatsoever. Where the drought and lack of rain is on the eastern coastline, namely the Barrier Islands. This summer, on almost every single day, we heard thunder and lightning in the area, but they didn't start that way in the Atlantic. They crossed the Barrier Islands, got humidity from the Indian River and the intercoastal, and on the mainland there was quite a bit of rain.
Mm-hmm.
And on the Barrier Islands, they were running sprinkler systems like you wouldn't believe, and water is getting more expensive than ever when it comes to sprinkler system usage. And it's not that there's a shortage of water, but like a lot of things happening, if you can raise the prices because you can, you do it. And that's one of the areas that needs to be fought a little. But that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's another show, because just because you can do it doesn't mean you have to do it.
That's for darn sure.
And I was thinking that too, Martha. I live on the mainland, so maybe 2 miles as a crow flies to the ocean, and we had water every day. I mean, in fact, at the end of my driveway was puddles basically all summer long. So we had plenty of rain on the mainland.
Yes, yes. And every day we go food shopping and mail and other things. You see puddles all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And we had trouble on the Barrier Island. The people in charge, there's a percentage of them that are snowbirds.
Right.
And they call down, oh, there's lightning and thunder every single day. And that's true, but it didn't bring water to the Barrier Island.
Mm-hmm.
So there were times that our sprinkler systems were wrongly shut off, and we quickly had them put on again because of absenteeism and not correct information being told.
Right. Well, it's actually an anomaly, too, that we had all that rain 2.5 miles away from where you didn't have any.
Yes.
It's like a unique kind of Florida situation.
Yes. That often happens in the tropics, though. We get, they say isolated showers, but even when they're not isolated, they are. In half a block, you can see people who are getting soaked, and by the end of the block, they just missed it.
Oh, right. Or the other unique thing is if it's raining on one side of the street, literally it's not raining on the other side of the street. And we saw a lot of that this summer, too, again.
Yes.
It's been a while since I've seen that myself, but I noticed it a lot this summer.
A lot this past summer.
Yeah.
So anytime the weather is going to take a really bad situation, like a storm, we get storms year-round. That thunderstorms are predicted, but they may or may not be severe. And in an isolated spot, they are very severe. So always be prepared. Keep your extra bottles of water, even though hurricane season is over. You never know when electricity is going to be knocked out. Knocked out by a storm, and we're talking a few days, a couple days, when you may not have electricity. So in Florida, be prepared all the time. That is my philosophy I'm leaving you with. So I want you to have a great week, and if you have any questions, we want you to please call us over here on Evergreen. Or if you want to call me directly, call me at 772-231-6000. 0001, and I will call you back, provided you leave a message. Have a good one.